Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, am I hopeful that I know those commercials, if they went out, they were not very loud. I'll give you that. But anyway, I'm Marky Billson, Tri-City Sports Now, trying to man the sinking ship of technology, and I really am like what Dick Schaap once. I remember one of the funniest sports columns or sports pieces when he did the Sports Reporters. And it was man against machine. I don't even remember who the human being was that was playing Deep Blue, the chess, computer. But I remember Dick Schaap finishing up his commentary talking about the chess player and saying, "That's why I'm rooting for my man, my main man." I never bother anyone. Come on. But sometimes I don't do it as well as I should, but that's your fault, not mine. Hey, Tri-City Sports Now, and I am Marky Billson, and let's talk a little bit about football news. A couple of stories coming out here. You heard right before we went on the air on a program that we probably shouldn't have been airing, but the Buffalo Bills, it surprised me, they never retired O.J. Simpson's number. They just took it out of circulation. Now, the Steelers have done this with certain numbers, 32 themselves for Franco Harris, but evidently the Bills did the same, and they just gave it to a scrub. And his guy's name is Sonoris Perry, and he's wearing 32 as the Bills go through their offseason program. O.J. Simpson was contacted, and, there's not a whole lot he can say. It's sort of like, look, the Bills give their numbers out too. I can't be worried about that. I got a few more things to concern myself with. But here's the thing. Say what you will about O.J. Simpson. He is a candidate for greatest running back of all time. Say what you will about O.J. Simpson. He is a candidate, greatest running back of all time. Now, I don't know if that list of greatest running backs ever. They did an all-time team with the Bills several years ago. Thurman Thomas was ranked as their running back out of O.J. Simpson. Yes, it was after the trial that the vote was taken. And remember, the Bills played in their 4 Super Bowls before O.J. Simpson was arrested. In fact, the Bills once even sent him a message of support, the players on the Bills at that time, when he was arrested in jail. Yeah, the contemporary Bills. Contemporary this way. I know Thomas went to the Super Bowl and all that. When I mention Thurman Thomas, what do you think of? You think of he couldn't find his helmet in the Super Bowl. It's tough sometimes with O.J. Simpson to think football, but when you think football with O.J. Simpson, there were very, very few running backs, if any at all, that were better. The first football player I ever heard of, growing up as a kid, born in 71. Say what you will. First athlete I probably heard of was Julius Erving. OJ was probably number 2. I mean, really, what is it about unretiring numbers? I thought that was only a Johnson City thing. You know that Science Hill is now giving number 11 to any quarterback they have. Oh, it's to honor Steve Spurrier, instead of retiring his number as it previously was. ETSU unretired the number 42, so they could give it to Tiggs. That was supposed to be the deal breaker to get Tiggs to play at ETSU. I'm sorry, that's going way over. And I know Tiggs was a productive player, but you're talking about and I know, supposed to be A-OK with Chilton and all that. I'm still Also, it should be remembered that the Denver Broncos, speaking of Tennessee athletes too, did the same thing. Frank Tripucka, they had to put his number back in circulation and give it to Peyton Manning. You know something? When Joe Montana played for the Chiefs, Len Dawson was 16. Montana wasn't getting his number that he wore with the 49ers in Kansas City. He wore 19. A couple of other things here too. I got some grab bag stories that I've been meaning to get to. Chris Long retired over the weekend, 70 sacks in his 162 games from the Philadelphia Eagles, 11-year career. He was a very good defensive lineman. And you know what? I Eagles a little bit more vulnerable. I wouldn't bet against the Redskins in that division next year. You heard it here first. Let's see here. Ezekiel Elliott had the cuff slapped on him in Las Vegas, but he wasn't arrested. That's probably a non-story. Sometimes you get into bad place, wrong time. Cowboys say they're going to be looking into mutual agreement. It isn't. Joe Rexrode over at the Tennessean thinks that McCoy would look good in a Titans uniform. I can't imagine that he would look good, that he would not look good in any uniform. Also interested in him. Boy, doesn't this just seem like it? The Patriot way. Yep. New England. Absolutely. I told you the XFL. Let me get to that. I've got a couple other stories that I wanted to get to, and I don't have all the time in the world. I only have a minute. You know what? I'm going to hold off the XFL until tomorrow. I'm going to hold the XFL off until tomorrow. Carolina Panthers. You know, if we give the Carolina Panthers all these tax breaks to move their training facility to Rock Hill, South Carolina, about 30 miles south of Charlotte, what is Charleston money into that? Which is a good point. But South Carolina legislature gave them the tax break, so there'll actually be a new exit on 77 in Rock Hill, South Carolina, where the Charlotte Knights used to play, by the way, minor league baseball team. Or do they still play there? Anyway, got to double check that. But the point being that the Panthers will be building a new practice facility there. It'll be in 2022. I think that's a bad idea. I really do. Because I just don't see the practice facility being 30 miles away is, all that helpful. Of course, they'll still play the games in Charlotte. The deal was that the people believed it was a legislative buy-off, won votes against senators who otherwise had no reason to support the tax break because it benefited the region, and that they decided that they would give tax breaks to...
Real Irwin, Real Sports Talk, a Jet Broadcasting Station.